where visionaries, entrepreneurs, and artists dream, transform, and create. Rae TV. You are listening to Miracle Moment, and I am your host, Rae Irelan. This is where trailblazing, truth-telling, provocative, and successful entrepreneurs and creatives from around the globe share their number one miracle moment that changed everything, pointing them in the direction of igniting epic soul alignment in their life and business. These renegade souls will show you the behind-the-scenes, real-life magic on how to create a world-class lifestyle of true success. I am so glad you're tuning in. So today I wanted to bring in the theme of energy, energetics, focus, and really how to play with our manifestations and play with the universe in a way that we are open and available to receiving miracles throughout our day-to-day. So something that I've been noticing has been the power of focus and intentionality. This is something I've been playing with for many years on my journey of understanding manifestation, but it's becoming clearer and clearer as I play with my levels of awareness and focus. So for instance, something that I've been noticing, and I see this in my clients as well when they are launching a new program or they have something new that's ready to be birthed into the world. What does it take, right? I've definitely seen clients that have massive successes and, they're really stepping into new levels of ownership and leadership and responsibility and power. And then there are other clients that are struggling a little bit more. So what's the difference? What's coming up? One thing that I notice is the level of focus one can have on their, I don't want to say end goal, but on their focus point. So I'm someone, I call myself a serial creative entrepreneur. I love all the different hats that I've worn in my career and in my life. I love all the different types of projects that I've worked on, everywhere from dance companies to my band to festival and event production to my coaching and mentorship, to jewelry design, it's to writing a book. There's so many pieces and my hands are in so many things. And a lot of times people kind of look at what I've done and they're like, how did you do all of that? Well, a lot of it comes down to the focus and intentionality. And so for some people, I do believe that it's important to simplify. And there are times in my life, depending on the size of the project, say for instance, my book, writing my book, Blame It on My Soul, it took me letting go of everything else to really be able to finish and complete the book. So there were times, and I had to tap into my disciplinary archetype. And there was a time for about 6 months, actually, when I was finishing the editing process, and the editing process was so long. I honestly thought I was a good writer before that happened. But I also hired an amazing editor, and with an amazing editor comes all of the edits. And honestly, she just tore my book apart. And I'm so grateful for her now because I have this masterpiece that I'm able to share with the world. But at the time, it was really challenging emotionally, but also taxing on my brain and my energy. And it made me really question whether I was going to complete the book or not, because it just felt like such a huge project. And anyone that is in the space of sharing your personal story, it's taxing on the heart too, to continue to go back and look at the past. I believe most humans do really well looking into the future. We do well being pulled into the future, pulled into our visions. And when we spend too much time looking at the past, it can kind of feel like we're going backwards. And so that was a bit of my experience in my initiation of becoming an author. And so I just really didn't want to finish it. So what I needed to do to bring out and connect with my interdisciplinary archetype was create some boundaries. And for me, what I was noticing is anytime I was going to work on my book, all of a sudden this new song would come into my mind, and I'd go to be reaching for my guitar or an instrument or my notebook. And I was just, so taken by these creative downloads that were coming through so clearly that I had to capture them right then. But I started to see a pattern. It was only happening when I was going to be writing my book. Huh. Well, isn't that interesting? So I started to notice how it was actually just a distraction point, that my channel can be open at any time to write a song. That's actually something that comes very easy and fluid to me. As long as I have the time and space, it comes through. But I was noticing that I was definitely using this as a distraction, and therefore my focused energy on my book, it just wasn't going anywhere. It was sitting still, and just like still water that is sitting there, it starts to build up residue and then mildew, and it gets harder and harder to see the clarity. And so that started to happen within my book. And so basically, what I landed on was, all right, Rae, with this inner dialogue, all right, Rae, so this is what you have to do. You are not allowed to write any new music until this book is done with the editing. Ooh, that was a hard one. It was like I was sitting down my younger self and saying that to her. And a lot of the work I do in my mentorship is also around, this communication and loving your inner child and being a team. And it was a tough moment. And I remember thinking, how can I love my inner child right now so much that I'm willing to do something that feels a little uncomfortable with my inner child and create these boundaries. Yeah, this was totally like my my parenting starter kit, right? For any parents out there, you're probably laughing. But it was a really challenging time. But because I put those boundaries, I was able to focus so deeply on my book. And I remember so many times where I would pull up my computer, I would be ready to start working. I had, a few hours set aside for my book, and then I'd go to reach my guitar and I'd be like, oh, nope, okay, refocus. And it really is that intense level of focused energy that really creates momentum. And the universe responds to what we're focusing on. So, as I share this story, I want to connect it with the experience of witnessing and being connected to the miracle frequency. Because just like anything, like the story I just shared, we when we bring our focused attention there, the universe responds and meets us. It shows up in that space. And so we're able to, first of all, acknowledge that there are miracles that are happening. We're able to witness them and actually be more impacted by the miracles. And then it basically becomes a amplified exponential experience, because then we're starting to play with the mirror neurons in me and the universe, and we're doing this dance, right, of thinking about miracles, seeing also where in my life can I create a miracle for someone else, even if it's as simple as walking into the car shop and smiling at the woman at the front desk, asking her genuinely, how are you doing today? You would be surprised at how much that tiny little gesture and that intentionality and focus will change everything. Um, another story on this was, I was going into the car shop just earlier today to get some work done on my car. And this year, I finally got myself a nice car. So I have this beautiful Mercedes convertible. I mean, it's such a blessing. It's so fun to drive around. Before this, I always was the friend that had the car that was falling apart, but like was reliable, right? It was good, but the paint job was completely chipped off. It was missing a bumper or something like that. So, I've never really been a car person, and this is my first year of officially owning a very beautiful, luxurious car. And there were some things that I needed to get fixed on and bringing my full presence into everything I'm doing. And so, me going into car shops in the past, let me paint you a picture. Like, I don't know anything about cars. I show up, I'm confused why I'm there. I can barely even explain, like, what are the different parts or what do I need. And usually it's this guy that's like looking at me and he's trying to understand. He's kind of annoyed at me. And basically, by the end of the day, I end up just asking the men in my life to take care of my cars. This has been my story. So today, I'm thinking about intentionality and presence and focus and creating miracles. And I'm like, okay, what would happen if I walk into this Mercedes dealership and I intentionally choose who I want to talk to? So I make a choice and pick someone that I think I'm going to have fun with, right? Who I'm aligned with their energy. And what if I really just bring my full joy and presence here? And one thing that was a small, tiny little plastic piece had fallen off of my driver's seatbelt. So it was this like tiny little piece. I'm thinking, really, like, how much does this cost to like fix? Probably like $5, right? Like, it should be super cheap, but of course it's not because it's Mercedes and all this stuff. I'm like, okay, let's make this fun because this is kind of, not totally the most fun thing to do on my Friday morning. So I walk in and I find this woman and she's sitting there. She has some cool hair. And I'm like, she's a little bit older. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go talk with her. And I walk into her office and I'm like thinking, okay, let me just radiate love and just like let me be a light in this woman's day. And I could just tell that initially, she was kind of like, okay, come in and just in her regular workflow, like not really connecting much. And I really, as I gave her my full presence, she met me there. And she was all of a sudden like, oh yeah, okay, what do you need? Okay, let me take you over there. And she just opened all the doors and not literally, but she was opening the doors, connecting me with the right people, basically helping me figure out some stuff in a way that was going to be much cheaper for me. And was just really helping me out and had great energy. And I was like, wow, that was so amazing. Basically, the car part, another guy was trying to help me, and he was like, well, we have to replace the entire seatbelt, the entire complete device of the seatbelt, like the part that's inside the car. Again, I don't know the technical terms, the fabric of the seatbelt, the clicking part, like all of it, just because this tiny little plastic piece was missing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, this is going to be way more expensive. Anyways, the woman ends up figuring out how we can actually work with them and work with me in a way where like they're going to cover it. I'm like, oh my gosh, what a gift. Wow. So I ended up leaving the shop feeling so empowered and just being like, wow, that was really amazing. And look at what happens when I really just bring my full self forward and, just show up and have that positivity, be that light. Now, the funniest part is I'm driving home and I had been looking for this tiny little plastic piece for like about the past 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, but like looking for it every day because every day I get in my car and I'm like, shoot, this piece is missing. So I look in my car, I looked all around my home, nowhere. As I'm leaving the dealership, guess what happens? I look in my car, I look one more time. I'm like, I actually think I was looking for something else. I was looking for a crystal, of course. And I all of a sudden, there is the tiny little plastic piece of my car. There it is. And I pick it up and I'm like, no way. And okay. And then I'm thinking, all right, well, they're going to probably have to install it. It's this whole thing. Nope. It literally just clicks right back in. Done. I'm like, wow. Okay. Well, isn't that a miracle? Isn't that a full miracle right there? That this whole time I've been wondering, oh, what am I going to do? Thinking about it, like just being cringing at the idea of needing to go into the dealership and talk to them and all this stuff. And here I am. I just had an amazing experience. I got to connect with this woman. She helped me with a few other things on the car, gave me her personal number so I could contact her whenever I wanted, whenever I needed help or had a question. And then the piece magically appeared. So this is the universe playing with us, playing with me, playing in the field of potentiality. And the field of potentiality is always there. But when we bring our energy and focus and really our love, because that's the frequency that it truly boils down to, when we bring that love and we have to surrender to the human parts, right? So I had to surrender to the fact that I could be going in and dropping like maybe $1,000 or who knows how much on this like tiny little piece of plastic. And I was like, okay, let me not be angry or, let me not shame myself here. Let me just go in and see what I can do. And it all comes together. Now, I've witnessed this same energy happen in launches where a client is so focused on just bringing the love, bringing their leadership, bringing their wisdom to the world that by the time they launch, it is as smooth as butter because the universe is already feeling them. It's already connected. There's a level of intentionality, there's focus. They're not really focusing on other things that are drama in their life or focusing on, and whatever else, but there's a clear, like defined path that is being walked. And really all senses are open. The eyes are open, the breath is present, the ears are open, the whole sensory experience as you're walking towards what you want to manifest. That is so important. It's not just about manifesting the things. This is what I want you to get out of this time that we have together. It's not about just manifesting the things. It's not about just getting the car fixed. It's not even about just having the car, right? It's all about the journey of how you are, who you be as you manifest. And that's where the juice comes in. It's the journey of being focused. It's the journey of experiencing life fully each and every moment. That's the level of presence and awareness that allows you to actually see and witness the miracles. I could have easily gone into the car shop today on my phone. I mean, there's so many other things. I have a lunch coming up on my phone, doing this and that, listening to music, like shoving a granola bar in my mouth. And I'm saying all this because I know I've done this. I've lived that life where I'm running from one thing to the next, just trying to squeeze it in, feeling like there's not enough time, feeling like there's not enough me to go around. How can I do all this stuff? I need to duplicate myself. But that is not the reality. The reality is you have all the energy you need. You have all the time that you need, and you are enough. Just you, just one you is totally enough to not only experience the best fucking life you've ever experienced, but also to make the biggest ripple in the world, the biggest impact in what you're doing, in who you're being. Like all it takes is just you. So when we can let go of these limiting beliefs of what we think we need to create a miracle or to create an impact, and we just show up with presence and awareness and love, things will happen and move faster than you can ever imagine, because that is the field that the universe plays on. Oh, I invite you to playing in that field. I'm curious if you listen to this, if you play with it, and if you notice anything in your life change, let me know. I want to hear the stories. I want to connect with you. You're listening to this for a reason, for a purpose. And let's share your stories. Let's expand them. Let's let others know and remind others of the power of presence, because that's what it all comes down to bringing your focused attention to everything that you're doing. So that way the universe can mirror that and bring its focused attention onto you and onto what you're manifesting. Many blessings for the rest of your day, and I will talk to you very soon. Thanks for checking out this video. Subscribe and ring the bell if you haven't yet, so you can stay up to date for new episodes coming out soon. And remember to to witness and acknowledge the miracles and magic in every moment. This is Rae Irelan, and I'll see you soon.